Welcome back to another segment of Credit and Magic 36, and we're going to really dive into it today. Let me throw this disclaimer out there. It's not my intent to give you financial advice, accounting advice, tax advice, legal advice, or professional advice. This is for educational and recreational purposes only. I'm just sharing information. Everything I say is alleged. Now let's dive into it. So I want to cover consumer rights. I want you to know that legally and lawfully you can dispute inaccuracies on your report. Stuff that don't belong to you. If you see an error, you know what I'm saying, your stuff is not consistent across the board. That's why it's good to get your 3 reports together. I have the Experian or whatever, but sometimes you want to use like Smart Credit, Identity IQ. I also think I have that one, or I had that one before. And there's another one, My Score. But basically, you want your reports to be matched up side by side, so that you ain't got to do no extra work. You ain't got to wiggle or none of that. It's right there in front of you. And anything that you see that's not exact same, highlight it and just go, from the top to the bottom and highlight the errors, right? And the reason that you're going to do this is because it's coming from one source. So if information is coming from one source, it should be all the same information. Why? Because the Fair Credit Reporting Act says that the information has to be accurate and complete, or 100% accurate, 100% complete. So the word accurate means exact value. That means that there can't be no error. There's no gray area. It's either right or it's wrong. It's either accurate or it's not accurate. It's either complete or it's not complete. You can leave all the guesswork up to them, because the consumer, the burden of proof falls on the consumer reporting agency. It does not fall on the consumer. If you see something that you don't feel is right, or that you think is not right, they're supposed to do an investigation. If they've done the investigation, they're going to update the date, that they completed the investigation. They're going to have proof of what they found, and they should mail it to you or email it to you. Preferably, you want to keep a paper trail and have them mail it to you, to your mailing address or to your physical address, whatever the case may be. This is the way it works. So I just want to make sure that you know that you can. There's nothing wrong with you disputing anything that you feel is inaccurate or incomplete. Now, the caveat to that is that Congress has also put laws in place for you to challenge wrong information. And I'm going to kind of try to slowly go through a couple laws. Sometimes I get excited because I'm just excited about the information, and I've been excited about the information since about 2016, when I first started learning and moving in the lane, right? So let's talk about 1681, right? 15 USC 1681, because this is kind of like the law of laws, and it basically governs everything as it relates to the Consumer Reporting Agency. That's why it's called the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So basically, this law is commanding that information be reported in fairness, accurately, and complete. If nothing else, you can extrapolate from the meaning of the Fair Credit Reporting Act those 3 things. It encompasses much more, but it hangs its hat on those things. So in 15 USC 1681, there's a lot of meat there. I just want to start with permissible purpose. And this law was actually updated, I think, at the end of November of 2022. And it's a very powerful law, because what it says, first of all, is that before a consumer reporting agency can actually furnish information or furnish your account, right, you're supposed to be notified and you're supposed to give them written instruction. Then the second stipulation to that is that the only other way that they're supposed to actually be able to furnish the information or furnish the account is to have a court jurisdiction, or like a district court jurisdiction, meaning that the judge authorized it, right? So without your written instructions or your consent or your permission, they're not supposed to furnish the information. Without a judge's court order, they're not supposed to furnish the information. And for the most part, I believe the judicial part doesn't even deal with reporting information. So that's just two ways that you can kind of corner the Consumer Reporting Agency. Doesn't matter if it's Equifax, doesn't matter if it's Experian, or TransUnion, it all works the same way. Something else that I kind of skipped over is that you need to freeze the secondary agencies. Now, there's over 360 of them total, but mainly you probably heard these or a few of these, like LexisNexis, LCI, ARS, SageStream, and of course we know the big three is Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. So you want to freeze those secondary reporting agencies because they share information even though they're not supposed to. That will help you be able to remove some of these negative items, negative marks, and derogatory accounts. The next thing is, and this is important and actually is what you're supposed to do too, is you need to clean up your personal information because if you have a whole bunch of variations of your names, whole bunch of addresses, a whole bunch of phone numbers and stuff, looks like you moved a lot and all these things, so you just look unstable. So when a financial institution looks at your file, right, because we're caught up on the score, but the score is really irrelevant. It's about the file. So if you have multiple addresses, you have 20 phone numbers, you have your name misspelled, or you have first name, middle name, last name, first name, middle name, last name, junior, senior, the second or third, it just reflects bad. When you look at a file, just think about it. Would you want to loan that person money, unsecured money? And that's kind of how they're looking at it. So it's just very important to clean up your personal information and to freeze the secondary agencies, right? Because they're sharing information even though they're not supposed to, and that will help strengthen your case to get this stuff removed. So I'm going to recap on 15 USC 1681 permissible purpose, right? I told you it's two stipulations. The most important one is that you're the consumer. You have rights. This is why you got to study to show yourself approved. Go in there and read this stuff every day. Take one law and just read it. If you can spend 5 minutes with it, you can spend 15 minutes with it. The more work that you put in, the better it's going to be, the sooner things are going to happen for you. Now, this is not overnight success. There's no free lunch. You got to put in the work. If you study to show yourself approved, you can begin working on your own stuff, writing your own letters. Then you can help, your household, and then you can branch out to other family members and help your friends, because the best way to learn this stuff is to do it every day and to help others. The energy you put out is the energy that you're going to get back. All right. So they're supposed to have your written instructions, your written permission, your written consent. And then the only other way that they can furnish the information, furnish the account, is they got to have a judge's court order to furnish the information. So they're in violation. A lot of us are not aware of what's going on. We think that these people have power over us, and they do not. These people are making billions of dollars off your information. They're keeping you in subprime lending because you have these low scores. You have all these dings on your credit. You know what I'm saying? They want to keep you. They're very profitable. You know what I'm saying? When you're in the 520s, 540s, 550s, 560s, 570s, 580s, under 600, 620, 640. They're making a killing. And so it's not in their best interest to take off negative marks, negative items off your credit because they make less money. If you walk in there with a 720 score, you know what I'm saying, they're going to have to give you a 3%, 4%, 5% interest. But you walk in there with a 540, they're going to give you, a 24% interest or 20% interest. And it makes a difference. The only way that you're going to be able to enjoy more of your money now is to stop paying interest, right? Because you know the rule. Either you pay interest or you receive interest. It's just the way it is. So this is why I'm encouraging you, admonishing you to, go to the law, learn the law, and begin to use your consumer rights to challenge things, challenge any errors, through factual disputing also. You gotta mix it up. You can't attack every item with the same law necessarily. You know what I mean? At the same time, if you're sending in 3 disputes, you need to hit it from different angles. Yes, they are violations, but you got to present a case, right? It's not about what you say. It's not about how you feel. It's what you can prove. 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 So if they are in violation, you're going to have to prove it. They're not going to give you anything. You're going to have to take it. You have to take what's rightfully yours by stating the facts, by using the law. All right. Another important one is 15 USC 6801, right? And what this talks about is the protection, the privacy, the security of your non-public information, right? So your credit report is not public information, but they're acting like they're an authority of you, right? They're acting like they are you, and they're just doing paperwork and they're charging you, right? They're making sure that their partners are able to charge you a lot in interest. That's what's going on. So this is why you got to become financially literate. You got to become financially educated, and you got to begin to at least get the basics of credit. And the most important thing that you can do is pay your bills before time. If you can't pay them early, you need to pay them on time, and you need to have a way to prove it. You know what I'm saying? Your checking account, your money order, receipt. You got to have receipts. This is the age of receipts. You're on social media, people be like, prove it. You just pull up the receipts. You see what I'm saying? Remember what Jay-Z said, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So when you have proof and you can prove that you did something, it puts you in a whole nother stratosphere, right? So you always want to have evidence. You always want to have proof. So your information, your personal information, your date of birth, your social security number, your physical address, your phone number, your email, this stuff is supposed to be protected according to 15 USC 6801. If it's not, it's a breach of agreement. It's a breach of contract. And this law can get things, negative items, negative marks, derogatory accounts removed from your consumer report, right? I think I piled up enough on you right there. So we talked about 15 USC 1681. We talked about 15 USC 6801. We talked about what it means, what's the ramifications, what it entails, what it encompasses. And, I invite you to look those things up and begin to study them. It's just information. Remember, all the information is free, right? I would prefer that you learn this information yourself, clean up your own report, build out and expand your credit, and then help your significant other, help your household, then help your family members, then help your friends. Because whether you know it or not, you cannot live a better quality of lifestyle without credit, because everything is debt. So you're going to have credit, or you're going to be paying skyrocketing high interest rates, and you're never going to be able to have what you desire to have. You're going to only have, if anything, what they give you. But, if you want to drive a certain kind of a car, you should be able to drive a certain kind of car. If you want to live in a certain neighborhood, you should be able to live in a certain neighborhood so that your kids can get a great education. If you want your kids to go to a certain college, you should be able to send them to that certain college. You know, whatever the case may be. You want to send them to a business school. You're going to need credit to leverage to create multiple streams of income so that you can, after you put in the work, live a higher quality lifestyle and be able to afford your family better qualities of life, better options, better choices. So we've been live on Credit M Magic 36. Until the next time, peace out.